Welcome to the Intro to SCRF presentation. My name is Richard Brown. I'm the lead at the Smart Contract Research Forum. Previously, I was the head of community at MakerDAO for a few years. I'd like to spend the next few minutes giving you an overview of SCRF's mission, talk about what we do, why it's important, and a bit about how people can get involved if they're interested. To start off, let's talk about what SCRF is. We are a community of researchers, analysts, industry experts, and academics gathered together to pursue our goal of making blockchain research accessible to the entire ecosystem. And just as importantly, to make the blockchain's problems accessible to academia. We do this by maintaining a highly moderated chain and project agnostic forum where civility and intellectual rigor are paramount. On top of this forum, we apply incentives. This is the crypto space, so through intelligent application of financial, reputational, and intellectual incentives, we encourage the type of behavior we think which will help us achieve our mission. A little bit about our origin story. SCRF was born out of a series of conversations I had with Sergey Nazarov, who's my co-founder at SCRF. We had a chat about the nature of community in the blockchain space. We spoke at length about what community means, how it can be applied to a mission, how best to design a community that creates reciprocal relationships of value with the organization that's constructing the mission and the users that are participating with it. Through these discussions, we both discovered that we shared a frustration, and that frustration was at the puzzling divide of between academia and industry in our space. We wanted to know why there was no place for blockchain researchers to seek open, real-time peer review, critique, and collaboration, and by extension, why the technologists in our space and the community leaders didn't have a location where they can go to engage with the people, the academics and researchers who are also thinking deeply about the same issues that we are. So, out of these conversations, the Smart Contract Research Forum was born. Let me dig into our mission a little bit because it's deceptively important, at least I believe it is. Our ecosystem consists of a number of stakeholders, but for the purposes of this discussion, we can divide them into two groups. There are people that have problems to solve in the industry, and there are people who have solutions to share in academia. So broadly speaking, that encompasses industry and academia. SCRF exists to answer an obvious question, but a pernicious problem all the same. Why aren't academia and industry speaking to each other? We need both groups sharing their data, their insights, their research, and their solutions, so we're going to be better positioned to face some of the challenges that are coming our way. So as a thought experiment then, we asked ourselves, so why as founders and architects and community leaders, why aren't we drawing from this well of research that's available to us? Economics, mechanism design, governance, privacy, auditing and security, et cetera. These are all heavily explored schools of thought. Yet in our space, we continue with an endearing, occasionally inspiring, but ultimately frustrating habit of starting from scratch. And it's not entirely clear to us why that is the case. So in order to solve for this problem, SCRF had to break this problem down a bit and look at them one by one, see if we had some solutions for these things. And so the first problem we thought about was the conversation problem. Social platforms have a noticeable bell curve of utility. When they're allowed to develop organically, they generally follow a predictable life cycle. Core membership creates value. New participants are drawn to this value that they find there. Culture and norms are eventually overwhelmed by the newcomers. The core membership leaves, and the quality of the discourse eventually diminishes until the rest of the users leave as well. This is not an uncommon pattern. I'm sure we've all experienced it. OGs in the space will remember the rise and fall of Bitcoin talk, which is sort of a textbook example of this issue. The way that we solve for this at SCRF is we have a dedicated team of paid moderators and operations personnel, project managers who have no profit motive. their profits is derived from the maintenance and the support and facilitation of this environment, so the forum itself. That means that we have a project that supports the space that's completely chain agnostic, project agnostic, and is mentoring and facilitating this community of users that are here to seek open and constructive peer review, civil critique, conversations with people in their space or in their areas of interest, and collaborating to make crypto better, or blockchain in general. Attention is a scarce resource in our space, particularly on the industry side. We need to move quickly and execute as fast. That doesn't leave a lot of time for introspection. Academia has many problems of its own, but one of the benefits there is that there's a certain luxury for academic rigor and deliberation. There's a synergy between these two groups. Industry needs to bring some of this vibrancy to academia. Academia can provide us with that insight and that intellectual rigor and that leg up onto solving problems that we might be whiteboarding without realizing that the solution exists in somebody's filing cabinet already. So we deal with the attention problem by having a community of researchers and academics that we incubate and mentor and train in the form of junior analysts and academics and postgrads, whose job it is to surface, discover, surface, summarize, and rebroadcast novel, actionable research in the space and bring it to the attention of the rest of the ecosystem. These researchers are supported by senior research associates or research fellows that we draw from academia and from research think tanks and research agencies in the space who provide guidance. These posts that we create are presented in a format that allows developers, founders, and architects to easily understand the applicability of a piece of research without having to dive into the source materials, which can be a significant challenge for myself. Next problem, discoverability. Information in our space, well, I'm sure in many spaces, but I'm familiar with ours. So information in our space is buried in silos, ivory towers, archives, blogs, private repos behind paywalls, on social medias. Finding research is tough. And if you do find it, it's potentially going to be stuck behind a paywall, or if you get it out from there, in an inscrutable PDF filled with latex and graphs that are, I'm sure, very, very impressive, but difficult for industry to wade through. This prevents a bit of very significant cognitive overhead that needs to be dealt with. On to the next problem, it's the bias problem. In our space, we are all familiar with a tendency for discourse to find the lowest common denominator, frankly. There's a lot of territorialism in this space. Maximalism runs rampant. Antagonism, shilling, groupthink, all of these things are common, rife with logical and rhetorical fallacies and traps. It's difficult to have a good conversation. And if you do have one, how long it's going to last is anybody's guess. We have a solution for that problem as well. And this is potentially one of our most innovative, probably one of the most valuable things that we can bring to the table. And it's a surprising one in how simple it is. But as far as I'm aware, there's never been a venue like ours that takes no position. It has nothing to sell. We mint no tokens. We exercise no editorial control. We're not a journalistic enterprise. We're not looking for, nor are we supporting drama or contention. Our role is simply to facilitate the surfacing of testable solutions for the blockchain space. We want to find actionable research. We want to find researchers. We want to find industry. We want to connect those two groups together so they make blockchain better. So that's the recap of the problems in this space. I spoke a bit about how we are going about solving these things. We have a great deal going on and a great deal more planned. Lots of work available, and like most of the space, we don't have enough people to do it. So here's the call to the ecosystem. If you find what we just went over at all compelling, SCRF needs help. We have lots of positions available. We're looking for project managers. We're looking for editors, illustrators, community managers, researchers, junior, intermediate, and senior to join us in our mission. And once again, that mission, while it's not terribly compelling in a space full of unique crypto primitives and earth-shaking developments on a weekly basis, our mission is to provide support for the intellectual commons in the crypto space and do whatever it is we can to help push the space forward and provide support where it's needed across all chains, across all projects, across all faculties, across all regions of the world. If you found any of this particularly compelling, like I said, please join us. Put a link on the screen about where you can find us for more information and where you can join us in the chat. Looking forward to talking.
Thank you so much, Rich. As a former academic myself, I appreciate the initiative of Smart Contract Research Forum. It's a great place to start that bridge and continue the conversation and meet our industry with our academic research. So props to you and your team.